Many things have changed in the 25 years since I was sat where you were. One of the really good things that's changed is diversity in this audience. It's fantastic. It's absolutely critical for science subjects to have diversity. For so long it hasn't been there. And so it is genuinely warming my heart to see so many different people out there with different views. Embrace it and nurture it. You learn more from talking to people who have different views to you than talking to people who think the same. And that's critically important for your future careers. Times like this, serious times, I think need serious thought. And so I like to turn to great philosophers and the great texts that they have written. And so for this, I thought the great text I would turn to would be the Spider-Man comics. And specifically, the great philosopher is Peter Parker's Uncle Ben, who said, "With great power comes great responsibility." It'll make sense in a minute, I promise. So I graduated about 25 years ago, and you couldn't imagine how technology has changed since then. So the iPhone was launched 9 years after I graduated. Social media, which now rules our lives, was launched 6 years after I graduated. Contactless payments, if you ignore small trials out in Korea, became mainstream 9 years after I graduated. And for all of those around the world who are watching this online, that communications explosion was unheard of when I was at the University of Warwick. I remember being very, very happy in my little house in Kenilworth, having a bonded ISDN line with a whole 128 kilobits of bandwidth. For those that care, that is 2 to the minus 13th of what you get at home today. None of this was possible. Technology has exploded, and the underlying science that drives it is what you are now the custodians of. So for my last job, for 20-odd years, I was helping protect the country as part of GCHQ, the British Intelligence Services, and then later the NCSC. I had the privilege of traveling all over the world, about 100 countries, and meeting lots of people from all different walks of life and different jobs. Everybody I spoke to about my academic career had heard of the University of Warwick. Some of them had even been to the University of Warwick. And with 275,000 alumni, it's maybe not that surprising. That kind of connection immediately helps you put each other at ease. You've got shared experiences and shared knowledge. Being a University of Warwick alumnus is a badge of honor, and you should wear it with pride. And again, I might be slightly biased, but I think I'm right. I've seen how the changes in technology and how we talk about technology have impacted individuals, critical infrastructure, and national security over my career. For good, there's real good. Access to information, enabling personal education, expression in new ways, enabling global scientific collaboration, the sort that forestalled the pandemic in ways that we couldn't have imagined. I've also seen it for bad. Cyber attacks, misinformation, and driving geopolitical tensions. Think how technology will impact us over the next 25 years, when some of you are stood up here doing this. It's cool, by the way. You should definitely do it if you get asked, just by the way. It's not just evolutions of the things that we already know about, but fundamentally new things. Things like quantum computing, things like artificial intelligence in all the weird and wonderful ways it's going to come to us. Ubiquitous communications. So communications gives people freedom. When you have ubiquitous connectivity, that will fundamentally change how we interact as a society. And that leads to things like your digital identity being your primary identity. That's a scary thought. What happens when somebody steals your password? It's not just they're reading your email and getting your Amazon parcels. This isn't buzzword bingo, by the way. These are all real things that are coming over the horizon, and they're going to change our lives in the future. Technology is already inculcated in everything we do in our lives, and soon we won't be able to function in society without it. As you just heard from Professor Vodek, language is important. The way we talk about things changes how people conceive it. The way we talk about technology changes how people think about risk. And as you start to think about how we're going to converse with technology, artificial intelligence and the like, how are we going to do that? What are the linguistic changes that we will need to think about how AI interprets us? Because today, computers have no nuance, and nuance is important. And so diversity in the audience, but diversity of interdisciplinary research is just as important. You are graduating at probably the most exciting time ever for a science subject. Whatever you do next, and I do mean whatever you do next, you'll be the people who will shape the future of our society. You'll be the ones who make decisions, however seemingly small at the time, that will affect my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren. That's your power. And you must use it responsibly, because it is a great power, even if you don't see it yet. Use it wisely. Always try to do what is good rather than what is easy. It's a critical thing. I've lived my life by this, and it makes you do different things. It is really important, especially as you go out into the big wide world and drive the technologies and the science that are going to change the world. So, to finish, as I said, with great power comes great responsibility. Thank you, Spider-Man. With a degree from the University of Warwick comes a myriad of worldwide opportunities, and I genuinely encourage you to take them. But more importantly than either of those, with the end of this ceremony comes the start of your proper celebrations and your future lives. Congratulations again, and the best of luck for the future. Thank you.